We've roped in Chad Thomas. He's the Chief Executive Officer of IRS Forensic Investigations. Chad, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. I want to just draw your attention to the very latest coming out of the National Assembly. Of course, the Speaker, Toko Didiza, now directing Parliament to consider on an urgent basis these revelations concerning the safety and security of the country. And in light of, the allegations by the police provincial commissioner in KZN on Sunday, how safe and secure should South Africans be following those revelations?
Good afternoon, Ati, and good afternoon to the viewers. Before I get to that, I just want to say South Africa is a peculiar place. We talk about protecting whistleblowers. We talk about wanting to hear the truth. We want to hear members in authority, whether they're politicians or commissioners of police, taking us into their confidence and telling us what's going on. And this is exactly what Mkhwanazi did on Sunday. He took the country into his confidence and he came with facts. He gave information and he backed it up with what looks to be evidence. Most of the country supports him, yet one of the biggest supposed crime fighters, Paul O'Sullivan, who has in the past taken on many police commissioners, launched a document called Joining the Dots when he was part of AfriForum, comes along and calls for Mkhwanazi's head. Instead of saying, well, let's investigate these very, very serious allegations, he calls for a whistleblower to be shut down, even though that whistleblower came with tangible evidence. So to me, it's bizarre. But as South Africans, I think this day of reckoning has come for the South African police services. I actually feel better that this is out in the open now. I feel better that all of this is going to be interrogated properly, that Parliament has taken note, that the President has taken note, and that we're going to see something come out of this. Because for far too long, we've seen a deficit of leadership within the top ranks of the police. And there have been these problems for more than 2 decades. And ironically, it was Paul O'Sullivan himself who exposed Celebi all those years ago, yet now tries to shut down General Mkhwanazi for coming and doing exactly what O'Sullivan did, joining the dots.
I want to bring you to this attention. When you recall the press briefing on Sunday, Mkhwanazi mentioned the fact that, the National Police Commissioner and himself were not really aware of the disbandment of the political police killing task force. And now you fast forward to today, the National Police Commissioner, General Fani Masemola, addressing the media virtually and clarifying that, in fact, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was acting within his terrain when he briefed the media on Sunday. What volumes does that speak?
Again, there seems to be a disconnect within the leadership and the top ranks of the police. General Sabir said that he had received an instruction from the commissioner to disband this particular political killings task team. We know that Mkhunu sent out a letter on the 31st of December 2024 addressed to the Commissioner of Police, Fani Masemola, instructing him to disband this unit. But from an operational perspective, we never ever heard anything from the Commissioner of Police, Fani Masemola, to say that this unit is in fact going to be shut down. So for all intents and purposes, this unit has actually been carrying on in the background doing its work. But how does the Deputy National Commissioner, the head of detective services, say that he actually received an instruction to disband this unit, hence he received these dockets? It means that this disconnect at the very top is a massive problem that really has to be addressed. And when you have a provincial commissioner calling out a deputy commissioner as well as the minister, the way Mkhwanazi did over the weekend, then you know we have a deficit in leadership. You know that there's a massive problem. You know that these people are not sitting around the same table. In fact, he went as far as to say he was called by the minister to meet with Sabir, together with Masemola, to make peace. Now, where do you hear of police officers having to make peace amongst one another when they're meant to be creating peace for the citizens of this land? This factionalization within the police has fractured the leadership, and it's had a direct impact on us as South Africans. And I am so very glad that it's out in the open and it's now being addressed.
Speaking about fracturing the leadership, we know, of course, Mkhwanazi exposed senior police officials, including, of course, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, of meddling in police operations and having links to criminal syndicates. When you then look at the statement that was issued out on behalf of the police minister saying that he has never met these controversial, individuals, including the controversial businessman Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, saying that he knows of Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, but he is just a comrade and not his associate.
You know, you hold one of the most important portfolios in South Africa. You're the Minister of Police. You have access to the upper echelons of intelligence. You know about everything that's happening within the policing structures. By association, you should know or be warned by your advisors that somebody you're associating with, this Brown character, for example, may have links to this Vusikat Matlala, who is the focus of multiple investigations. By association, this man could be seen, this Brown character, as being a middleman, somebody that's a fixer, somebody that's a facilitator. Now, let me just state for the record, just to clarify a few things. I believe very strongly in Minister Mchunu being a victim-centric person that came about and brought stability and change within the Ministry of Police. He was saying the right things. He was the first to convene an anti-crime summit to bring together all the role players. I sincerely hope that these allegations aren't true, because for the first time in a long time, we had a minister that was speaking directly to victims and imploring the police to safeguard the citizenry of this land. And it would be deplorable if he's in fact linked to any of these bad actors.
With of course, the parliamentary process ongoing, what position do you think this places on President Cyril Ramaphosa? He's back now from BRICS, and he obviously said that he would put this at the top of his agenda and act. I mean, what would you like to see in the interim?
Crime is at the top of everybody's agenda. It always has been. We rank in the top 5, and in some cases the top 10, amongst the most violent societies in the world. Our police haven't been coping, and we've seen this deficit of leadership. The president has to apply his mind urgently, because the citizens are now seeing why the policing isn't working to the extent that it should be working. How do your junior members conduct their duties without fear or favor when they see these squabbles behind closed doors? They hear about these political infighting taking place within their very organization. South African Police Service needs to be cleaned up, and it needs to be cleaned up urgently, because the main problem we have in South Africa as a large, it affects our society, it affects our foreign investment, is the fact that we are crime-ridden. And it seems like the criminals do have the upper hand. Can you imagine how excited and gleeful the criminals are right now, rubbing their hands, seeing that our top police management are at war with themselves?
Chad, thank you so much for your input. I really do appreciate it. Chad Thomas is the Chief Executive Officer of IRS Forensic Investigations.